Om Namah Shivaya. Namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. So then,
Father,
yeah.
can you talk about what lasts beyond death?
What lasts beyond death? One example could be the glass is full. Now the glass is empty. What's in the glass? Once it's empty, what's in it?
Space, air.
Huh?
Air.
Air. Suppose it is empty of air also. So it is not nothing. Is it? It is not nothing because it has the potential to hold something. If it is nothing, then I could not put something back in the glass. So it is empty of water, then I can put juice in it. Is it? So we cannot say it is nothing because the potential for existence of something is there. Is it? So actually, there is no such thing as nothing. Is it? So after death, again, what exists is that no thing in which again the potential for life is there, or that from which life came in the first place. So if it was nothing, then it could not hold anything, including existence or life. So that is the substratum of all things. What is a better explanation? Can you think of nothing?
No.
Cannot even imagine it, because even to try and imagine nothing, we are imagining an empty space, maybe a dark empty space. So this nothing is just conceptual. So if we can say something, we can say that after death, it is that which is before death, and that which is also here in life. Because that is independent of life. The space in the glass is independent of what the glass contains. The space in this room is independent of what this room contains. Is it? So that from which life comes, that cannot come and go. And the whole point of satsang is to see this right here, right now, that which I am, the reality of I, is beyond life and death. You see? And then you will find that in this, you cannot say anything conclusively about time or future or past, because it is so beyond time and space. You see? So to say that death is the end of all things and life will not come again is not valid. To say that life will come again is also not valid. This, we can say, whatever the primal urge of this is, although even terms like urge do not apply, because that means some sort of desire. But this is so beyond even desire, you see, that we cannot fathom why creation happens, why existence happens, why life happens. You see? We cannot really fathom it. And yet, to communicate, to use some terms in this worldly realm, you say the primal urge or the base primordial desire of the self itself is to experience itself in some way. You see? But that even cannot have a desire.
The primal urge, leave it aside.
Yeah.
Individual desires,
Yes.
does that last death? Does it stay?
Yes, because it is completely possible for it to. You see? Because nothing has been contained outside of this. So everything has always belonged to this. Now, if it wants to continue to play with this, again, we have to use a concept called play. If it wants to continue to play with this for a million more lifetimes, it can.
So,
because the source of this intelligence, the source of this mind also, is that same source. This is all there is. You see? So where did all of this come from? It was made up of this alone. So as long as the play is there, or we can say the urge is there to play more with this, it can continue. You see? Or not. So what I want to tell all of you is that all of these, reincarnation, your personal lifetimes, all of these are just conceptual notions that we have used to try and make sense of this unexplainable. Okay? But you will come to the seeing that this that is completely free beyond any concept of freedom. So all things are possible in it. So whether it wants to play this way, straight line, whether it wants to play round and round, whether it wants to experience lifetimes in the future or lifetimes in the past, time, space, all of this is independent.
Full recognition is not there right now, let's say.
Why say?
Then you're not living totally in the truth, let's say. Then it'll...
the truth actually cannot be lived.
The truth is living you.
Yes, that is one way to put it. But actually, we cannot live as the truth. When we try to live as awareness or live as the self, then it creates another contradiction within us. This worldly play of appearances is moving. This body is moving. This life is moving. You see, it's constantly changing. But when we try to fix that, we said, okay, this should become the unmoving or something. That creates an inherent battle or contradiction in us. And the seeker gets more and more activated that I'm not living it yet. You see? That's why better what Maharaj said. Let your worldly life take care of itself. Let it move the way it is moving. So in that it can continue to move without this idea that is Soumya constantly, is there attention always in awareness? Is she always coming from the self? You see? You don't have to bother with this because the light of consciousness is running this world perfectly, which includes this body. Because even in this notion that I am not living it yet, you are identifying yourself as this one, no? At this boundary. You're not identifying as all and even beyond this all. So best to drop this notion. Best to drop the idea that somebody can live it fully. Best to drop that idea that somebody can live it fully because it is only another concept which can keep us down in a way. So leave that.
Isn't that?
No, it isn't. Isn't that the idea? It is not. You see, that is not the purpose of this. You see? The purpose is to rid ourselves of all these limited notions about ourselves. Once you see that you are the screen and the light of the projector, then is there some trouble with what scene the movie might contain?
The seeing is not continuous, so...
The seeing is always continuous, the interpretation is changing. You can never not see this. Although, if it was a coming and going, then according to the sages, all that is coming and going is not true. Then even this truth would not be true. You see? If awareness was also coming and going. So awareness is not coming and going, but I am.
No, Father, awareness is not coming and going.
Yes.
But the identification with awareness and with the body is happening.
Is changing.
Yeah.
Yes. And even in that coming and going of identification, what happened to the truth? What happened to awareness? Nothing has happened to awareness. So, are you that? Therefore, nothing has happened to you. Is it? Now, the nature of identification itself is that way, that we consider ourselves to be something other than that. Is it? That's why it can feel like, or we can think that we are not in that constantly. But actually, we are that only. Is it? And one way to identify is to say that I am not there fully yet. That is another way to identify itself.
Yes.
So then you might say that if this is true, that the truth remains untouched, then what is the point of all of this anyway? What is the point of satsang or ridding ourselves of the identification? There is actually no point, but we can, if you were to say that there is a point, you were to say that consciousness got tired of its suffering-based experience of the world, and now it is ridding itself of its suffering-based experience and coming to a more natural existence by ridding itself of its limited ideas about itself. So whatever that idea might be, in true satsang, that idea will not survive. So as you continue to come, you will find that over the years, your idea about yourself has also changed. Now they've come to a different quality level. And even this will pass. Even these notions will pass.
So the moment doubt arises
Yes.
about anything, that is, we are in the mental realm.
Yes. Well,
So-
not when it arises, but when we buy into it.
Okay. When we buy into it, we are in the mental realm. So that is how I see moving from awareness to the
Yes,
mind
yes, yes.
space.
As long as you are not confusing the I, then this cannot cause trouble. Is it? When we say we are in the mental realm, are you speaking of consciousness?
The feeling is whatever is making me buy that, whatever.
Agreed.
There is no doubt space.
There is space.
No, there is no doubt.
No
Doubt is
doubt.
not arising at all.
Okay.
You just know
Yes.
space.
Yeah.
And then there is this space where the regular
Yes.
space.
Yeah. Right. So that which witnesses both, that remains untouched by it. That is clear, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, when we pick up the notion that I am not that, then the changing of these spaces, as you call them, can make a difference.
This view is
Yeah.
only when I'm in the mental or in the mind space. If that is not there, when there is no thoughts, that idea is also not there.
Yes. In this report, who's
This
the I?
is-
That's why I'm trying to highlight this point that all the confusion is only about confusion about I.
Yes.
You see?
But naturally it should be felt, Father. It can't be convinced. Like it can't be convinced from the mind space. Right. Now the operation.
What you're saying is that the mind is convincing me. And it is saying, the mind is convincing me that it should be felt naturally, not convinced. So you're ready to be convinced by that, but unwilling to be convinced by me. No notion can help us here. Even this notion, it can sound very true actually. It can sound very true. That's what I call very well-dressed thoughts. They come with their full suit. You see, three-piece suit, well-dressed. This one, it must be felt naturally. It must not be have to be convinced. But that itself is trying to convince you, you see.
Yes. So one question.
Yeah.
One question about death.
Death.
Right now, the awareness is experiencing through so many things through this instrument.
Yeah.
So what happens when the instrument is low?
Yes. If it wants to sleep for a bit, it can sleep for a bit. If it wants to experience again, it will experience. You see? It is experiencing through the lens of consciousness itself.
Not through the instrument.
The consciousness itself is playing through, as all of this, and has a specific affinity towards this particular instrument, has created a specific affinity using its identification towards one instrument. Is it? So now what happens is that even this notion that if it wants to sleep for a bit, it can, or it wants to experience again, it can. The thing is, things like a bit and all that are not contained in that. It is independent of time. Like, one way to see this is that I talk about this, isn't it? That in a 15-minute so-called this world's time, you can have a dream which is an entire lifetime. You see? So you can see that this light of this projection is independent of time. You see? So, okay, let me not complicate it. Whatever is the will of, whatever is your primal will be experienced. So if it's not done with this play of tasting this experience, it will continue to play this experience. If it is done, it is done. You see? But that's why ultimately know that even this is a concept because it is independent of time. So I could say that it could take a rest for 10 million years, you see, and then come back for another million lifetimes. But all these are just again conceptual because time does not apply to it really. You see? So beyond these elements of the container you are, that actually trying to get the mind to understand this is trying to fit a very large object in a small coconut. You see? But hopefully what should happen is that when we speak about these bigger things, then it brings an end to our idea that our mind can really solve the mystery of the truth. You see? So another way of bringing disbelief to the mind. Because even after hearing all of this, you see, all of this can resonate at some level, but the mind is completely lost. It's like, so what was the answer? And it'll try to grasp onto one or two aspects of it, but the answer is continuously contradicting itself. You see, so there's nothing in the answer for the mind, and yet at a deeper level, you can find some resonance. Yes, I am beyond time. I am beyond space. Is it? The mind cannot understand anything beyond time and space, but you can, because you are it. So, what happens after death? It's completely free. Whatever, whatever is your will. If you want to play as if this aspect of consciousness never emerged, and you're done with all of its memories and plays and relationships and everything, gone, finished. If you feel like there's more juice to extract from this stuff, and you want to have this kind of play again, and you want to feel that, the same ones are now back again playing with me in another lifetime, you play like that. If you want to play as forgetfulness, see, actually they are the same ones, but I've forgotten all of it. Then you can play like that. It is, see, this is the freedom that I'm talking about. Completely free, beyond any idea of freedom. You see, the mind can have very small ideas of freedom. That freedom means that, oh, I'm just free to do whatever I want in a worldly way. I'm free to be rich or poor or something like that. But the freedom that I'm talking about is so vast that even time is not linear, that even space is not your container.
So, do you ever question any of your judgments, saying, well, there is something called common sense, like everybody, when you're in spiritual path, you try to tell you, oh, you mean you've given up this and you're not interested in that, and that's not the way to live. God made this beautiful world, you should enjoy. And your mind is drawn by whatever you're around people talk.
Yes. This common sense.
Yeah, what is common sense?
Yeah.
Uncommon.
Itself is quite uncommon, but even common sense is not enough. So, this what we are talking about is beyond common sense, because common sense operates on two things, which is, one is your perceptual ability. You see things like this, and we don't question them. You see, whatever we perceive, yes, this is how it is. You see, I must be contained in this body because it seems that my perspective is from here. You see? So that is a perceptual sort of common sense. Second type of common sense is this, like reasoning oriented. I'm able to reason things, put two and two together. You see? So this is the reasoning type common sense. But what we are talking about here is beyond perception, beyond intellect. You see? That which is a deeper intuitive insight. You see? So this, when the world questions you, but and if you really look, you will find that you cannot conclusively say anything about our perceptual reality. Even science has completely disowned it now. And all our reasoning, you found that many times it has been completely flawed. Because if just this common reasoning could work, then nobody would suffer. Because everybody has the ability for this common reasoning. So it is beyond perception, beyond intellect. There comes a time where consciousness sees in itself that it is not enough. Whatever this world could give me, whatever levels of intellectual concepts I pick up, they are not enough now. Something which is a deeper longing to find for yourself, to taste for yourself your own. You see, Amrit, the immortal nectar of your own being. That's why no matter who you are, in Indian spirituality, they talk about the gods and the demons, both actually dying to taste this immortal nectar of the being. So they go on this whole adventure. So this is the funny part. We will not get it through normal means. We will not perceive the truth. We will not even solve it like an equation. You will not reason yourself to the truth. Reasoning helps to some level. Where it helps is to see that which is false. Reasoning helps when a pointer is given that the truth cannot come and go. So we can use our reasoning to discard all that is false. So in that way, reasoning can help. But the truth, the experience of it, the experience of immortality, what is it? Amrit Anubhav. So the experience of immortality is beyond all reason, beyond all perception. And once you are starting to taste it, as you are being in satsang, then for a while there can be a bit of oscillation. So when our family is talking to us, when our friends are talking to us and say, you're becoming too much sadhu, you're becoming too much. Be involved in the world a little bit, come out for our social gatherings, come do this. Then it can feel like for a while your one foot is here and your one foot is there. Right? And that is the most uncomfortable phase. But as more and more you find that you're completely drowning in the truth, then both your feet can play in this world also without any trouble. But that cannot stay as an expectation that I'm going to drown this so that one day I can this thing, because there is no guarantee. You might actually become a sadhu. I know that is a scary notion for you to talk about.
No, not
Not anymore. That's good. That itself is good. That even these ideas start to follow you, and then we come so much in alignment with the will of consciousness. That Father, keep me as you will. If you keep me as a king, I'm fine. If you keep me as a beggar, I'm fine. All this, the play of the movie is not so important now.
Even in that bhajan, we sing Sukha Sampatti Gharava.
Yes.
That's a contradiction.
Well, yes, but you see, that's how it starts. So that is the marketing. but then where does it go? Tum ho ek agochar, sabke pranapati. So you are that which cannot be found in this way. And you are the Lord of all beings. This is sabke pranapati, that which is the Lord of all beings, that you are. So it starts with, of course, let's put the worldly issues to rest. So if you came into satsang and you started the arati worried about your bank balance and your relationships and things like that, okay, let's surrender that to the Lord. and then come deeper and deeper into the reality of who you are. How do I pray to you, O Lord? It also says, because you are that great unfindable. You see? So beautiful, isn't it? So, yes, this line initially, like when I was younger, used to also bother me that, oh, we are praying to the Lord, but all we still care about is this,
But in the last, it says that
yeah, everything is yours. So it progresses to this complete surrender. That even these gifts which you might give to me are actually just your own belonging, because you are the Lord of the universe. That is why it is a. David is still here. He wants to come.
Hello, Father. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, my dear.
It's lovely to see you.
So good, so good.
I've been having these anxious episodes recently, and it's like everything was going so well, and then I went to Monte Sahaja in June, and it seems to have come after that, and it's kind of around bodily anxiety, and when it comes on, it's so overwhelmingly debilitating. I feel like I can't do anything. Like my job, I'm in a new job, and I feel that how am I going to help other people when I'm feeling like this myself? It's been huge instability. And for a period, I went through insomnia, very very low feelings, and of course I'm sitting in meditation and trying to use the inquiry, but it seems sometimes it's just something that needs to be just allowed to be experienced. And I've tried the invitation, and that seems to provoke anxiety, make this anxiety come, and I mean, the mind will catastrophize about all sorts of things when I'm going through it, and I don't sleep like it did a couple of nights ago. And it said you won't be any good at your job. You won't be able to manage this meeting, but there's something within me that kind of still moves to go and do those things and ignore the mind. And actually, my day yesterday went very, very well. So, but at the time, it's so crippling. It's really, really crippling, and makes me feel like I can't do anything, and like I might end up in a mental hospital or something. And I know Guruji said, when he talks about the invitation, that the mind will come and it will make you feel like you're crazy, and it certainly felt that way. But it's these episodes, and they come every now and again, and they're quite frightening. I'm not gonna lie. I have to be open. I feel very, very vulnerable when they come. Very vulnerable.
Yes. This is very important to not push everything into some sort of a Advaita denial. You are able to say that this is what is being experienced here right now. And I can't do, I try to use the self-inquiry, I try to use all the methods which are available. And it doesn't seem like anything is helping. It's very important, firstly, to accept this as it is. Now, the mind will try to create a pattern about things. It will try to create cause and effect, and this is like this, and this is like that, and that is why your life is this way or not this way. So suppose that you could, for a moment, you could forget about all cause and effect. What is causing anything to happen is this consciousness. What is the one cause of all things? It is just consciousness. So nothing is leading to anything else. Because when we create these patterns based on our memory, based on our past, then in that can perpetuate this idea that I am an individual. Now, the good news is that even, is that feeling even there right now? This feeling of anxiety, feeling of vulnerability, of fear.
Sorry, you keep cutting in and out. The sound sounds very muffled, intermittently.
Yes, when you are speaking, I'll have to mute, and when I'm speaking, I'll have to mute. That way, the sound is better.
Okay. Yeah. So can
So I was saying that firstly, it is very good that we're not in some sort of Advaita denial. Advaita denial means that the experience is something, but we're using a concept from Advaita to try and fight that experience. You see? So if the experience is that I'm feeling fearful and we're using the concept, oh, I'm the self, I can't feel fearful. You see, and yet the fear is bubbling. You see? So in that way, we can get into a worse conflict. You see? So what I was saying is that in spite of whatever the feeling might be, even if it is here right now, you see, if you don't have a concept of anything, like including self-inquiry, invitation, no concept of anything at all, but we just, if you find the space and you're able to check and see what witnesses even this fear, is that itself fearful? Just with a childlike innocence, we are not doing the inquiry. Forget the term inquiry.
so yeah, I'm not experiencing anxiety now, and there are periods where there is great peace, like I say, and I'm not kind of concerned concerned by it, and there is just kind of there isn't kind of this always checking of my experience and am I being present and that kind of thing. Um, and there's just often there is peace there, and but it seems to come up. It seems it like come up in episodes every, I don't know, couple of weeks or something, and there's kind of a sense that yes, I can observe that, but when it's in full force, it has its own, there doesn't seem to be the strength or the power to kind of, you know, just apply that. It just feels like it just needs to run its own course, and but like I say, kind of it seems kind of false to use a kind of a method as a panacea, as a kind of a you know like an Advaita injection. There you go. You've had your Advaita injection, and you're all okay now. It doesn't seem feel right to do that. So, but it is frightening, and on some level, I've got support from within our sangha here, and somebody that says that is going to help support me through, and to actually really look at the anxiety and rather than kind of try to avoid it, because I think there has been times where I've tried to kind of just want it to go away rather than actually really fully immerse myself in it and look at it. So on some level, it feels like it needs to be looked at and addressed. So yeah, I don't know why I came up really. I just felt I needed to kind of be open about it and share with you. So thank you.
This is very good. So yes, of course, the Sangha is there for this support, and always, you can always write to me, you can send me a message, we can always speak, we can always share. But you're completely right when you say that the self-inquiry, the invitation, these are beautiful, beautiful tools which have been provided for our direct intuitive insight to the truth. You see? But we cannot guarantee that they will be the band-aid for some, you see, phenomenal trouble that we are having. Whether, like some can even say, things like, why does my car break down? I'm so spiritual now, I'm free, you see, these kind of things. So we try and apply this truth to various layers of this phenomenal experience. But we find that it doesn't really, is not applicable that way. And that is why recently I've been saying that actually truth for truth's sake, if you were to find, although our beginning of the journey might have been that we came into this because we wanted some freedom from something, from some feeling, to feel different things, for our life to be a certain way. But there comes a point where you recognize that my longing for the truth is so empty of expectation that I have no trouble in saying that I want the truth just for truth's sake. If nothing changed in my life, I'm still in this, you see, in this looking, in this inquiry, in this invitation for the truth alone, irrespective of the byproducts that it might produce. So this is a very, very vulnerable part of the seeker's journey, because here all of its expectations of better feelings, better life, better relationships, all that is being thrown away. And we come to this naked surrender. You see? Whatever you do with me, Lord, it's fine. Even this fear is yours to deal with. Nothing I am doing is helping. But I trust you, my Lord, my Sadguru. And whatever in this play I have to face, as you carry me, everything will be well, it'll go fine. So then it moves away from Advaita being a tactical tool to try and help us manage our life better, to a more open, a more naked existence, in which there is so much openness that one moment strong feelings of anxiety might come, the next moment a peace that might feel so strong that it would never be touched might come. And yet, even these are surrendered at the Father's feet. So as we empty of all tactics, everything that we thought we could use to be a certain way, then we're coming to a greater beauty actually, that which recently I've been calling our notionless existence, where we have no plan, no strategy, no interpretation, no judgment about anything that might be the content of our experience. Even the labels start to become milder and milder, not as strong. All the sensations can still be alive. They can still shake up the entire body. It might feel like death is coming. But even in this strong shaking, there is no notion about what is going to happen to me. And we don't have to do this, you see, because the way it is being said, actually, it might start to sound like a task. So don't misunderstand. I'm not trying to make a task out of it. I'm just saying that naturally every moment begins like that. You see? Like in this moment, you have no notion about yourself. And if I was to say, so David, tell me what is going on with you, you have to first reach out for those notions and then make that report. Yesterday, Ananta, this happened, or Father, this happened. You see, day before this happened, then last week when I was at the hospice, then I was feeling this fear of how can I help this one. I myself am feeling like this. You see, these kind of fears can come. You see? So, but these are not originally present in this now. And that is the good news. That whatever might have happened in the last few months, right now you are completely open, completely naked, empty of all notions. And there is nothing special about this right now, because everything is this right now. You see? So, although we are not getting into any conceptual denial of reality, of, we can't even call it reality, of this experience, we are actually finding the truth which is so apparent that whatever the content of my experience might be, I am not contained in that. It is contained in me. And you will see that when you are empty of notion, you will find that this truth is so apparent that everything, all the anxiety, all the depression, is sensations happening within you. But this within which it is happening remains untouched by all of these sensations. So although we do not use it as a concept, whenever we find the space to check on the reality of this, we're just checking. And we can even say, has this vulnerability, has this fear taken over every aspect of my existence? And the mind will come and say, yes, of course it has. You are completely shaking from this fear. But if we find the space to check, you'll find that, and for you especially, it'll be very clear that there is a aspect which remains untouched. That which witnesses all of this shaking is untouched. And if you don't find the space for even this checking, then just make it Guruji's problem. You see? So, and if you don't find the space even to make it Guruji's problem, you see, then be as that, be identified, it is fine. Because in this moment you will be empty of that. You see? So no feeling of guilt or trying to use something or trying to get it, or no unworthiness because of whatever might be appearing. No sense of not doing something right. Also, it is very beautiful work. I don't know whether your work continues to be the same as what it was once when you said that you started some work at a hospice, and I felt so good in my heart to hear this, that I don't feel like those who are close to passing will have a better friend than you can be. I'm so happy for all of them, and so grateful that Guruji's grace has enabled you to do such beautiful work. So all my blessings are there for this job that you have. It's very beautiful. It's time for Guruji's silent sitting from Monte Sahaja. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Sadguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.